Hello guys, Terrence here. Welcome back to my channel. I'd like to give you guys, a quick video of what I used to draw. And as you can see, I'm on my iPad, and the app that I use is Procreate. So, uh, so yeah, this is just gonna be a quick overview of what I used, or why I use Procreate. It's not really a review per se, although I will give you my pros and cons and my opinions on why is it I use Procreate, and why what makes it you uh, what makes it an app that I love to use, and why not other apps, for example. And yeah, so I started using Procreate back, I want to say, back in 2018. That's when I first got my iPad Pro. Uh, uh, yeah, which is this iPad I'm scrolling through right here. And so when you first open the app, you get your gallery. As you can see, I've built up a nice gallery with a lot of drawings already. So in order to fully explain why what makes Procreate so unique and what makes it the app that I choose, let's just jump in by creating a new canvas. So you can just take a look at the UI. So one of the main things that you'll see once you open up a new canvas in Procreate is that the UI is it's a very simplistic UI. It's very minimalistic. There's not a lot going on, and this is one of the reasons why I like using Procreate to draw. Just because of this very minimalistic UI, and there's, generally speaking, you have all the buttons on the top of your canvas with the brushes. You can open the brushes here, the smudge tool, you have an eraser, and you have your layers over there. And pretty much everything that you really need in Procreate is already, um, it's already listed up on the very top. And so it might seem like, oh, I don't have very many options, but when you really stop and think about it, there's actually, you know, not like you're never really going to use most of the tools most of the time when you think about it. Pretty much all you really need is just your brush and perhaps your eraser. And so I don't really use the smudge tool very all too often. Occasionally for just making gradient shading and all that. But if you really need to access all your tools, you can always expand them, and they're all neat and tidy, hidden in each of these buttons. So that's a great thing. You also have this option button that lets you get access to your canvas, share, all of this stuff. So your select tool, and then you have all these filters and adjustments that you can also use to adjust. You can control your hue, saturation, and all that. I don't have any color right here. Let's just quickly put a nice quick drawing here. I don't know what I'm going to draw. Oh, let's just do something really simple. There we go. And then we could just go here. We can change our canvas color really quickly. Pick a nice little, a nice color, nice soothing color. Yep, a little turquoise. Create a new layer, drag that down, and then pick some other color, I guess. Let's just do yellow. And then you can just color it back. Yep. Color it and select that on multiply. So as you can see, very quickly I can just do navigation and just quickly make this very cute sketch of this smiley face. And this is why I do like Procreate very much, because all the buttons, everything that you need is easily accessible from this top right corner. You get your brush, your smudge, your eraser, and your layers. And you also get to resize it on the left side. You can resize your brush size and the opacity. And then there's a color picker which you can use to just hitting this little square box over here. You can just drag around, and then you can just paint whatever different color that you need. So, you know, if you use some other app, for example, you get a huge clutter of, you know, buttons and stuff. And to be honest, when I first started when I first moved over to Procreate, um, there I did get a little daunting feeling that I did get. That is, you know, I'm missing all of the different buttons, the brushes, the smudge tools, the paint tool, and all that. But really, once you get used to using Procreate, um, you never really miss any of those many of those tools, because again, like I said, you're never really going to use all of those tools anyway. Not all the time anyway. They're all tucked away. So, but you can get access to almost everything that you want on any other app. It's all there. So there's no paint bucket tool. But if you do need to do like a paint bucket thing, for example, you just need to hit the top right corner and just drag it over here and then let go. And then there you go. Voila, that's your paint bucket. So that's the number one thing that I like so much about Procreate. It's the ease of use of UI. It's a very good UI, especially for the iPad, because it's designed for a touchscreen. So you want big buttons, and you want clutter to stay out of the way. You don't want this giant menu right in front of you all the time, and because it takes up a lot of real estate. You want more space to draw, not staring at this because this isn't useful. There are other apps that have this hanging out in front of you or on the side of the screen all the time, and it gets annoying. Honestly, I don't miss it once I've swapped over to Procreate. So that's the number one pro of Procreate. Why I use Procreate? Say that 3 times fast. That's the number one reason why I use Procreate. It's just the nice, clean interface. That's why primarily I like to use Procreate. There are other nice, interesting features of Procreate as well. That's something that I like to use. Oh yeah, you get quick access to like flip horizontal and all that. Again, all of this is very easily accessible. But the other tool that I like is the time-lapse replay. So if you just hit time-lapse replay, we can see my replay of the very quickly drawn smiley face. So you can just take a look and see as I drag it across, and I'm painting the smiley face. So again, this is all built in. You don't need any extra recording software. You can just, whenever you want, just hit time-lapse replay and you can watch yourself draw your a time lapse of your painting or whatever it is you draw. So there's a little bit of a learning curve when you use using Procreate. So obviously, because of the simplistic UI, you need to learn how to use the UI. And of course, there's like little gesture stuff, like I mentioned. This you need to know that. So that's not communicated very well. So if there are some neat little tips you can probably search out online. For example, if you want to draw a straight line, for example, you can just do that. But if you really want to get a proper straight line, you want to hold here and then drag down and then press it for a couple seconds, and then it will, as you can see at the top, it'll say line created, and now you can just have a line. It also does other shapes as well, so let's just shrink that out. We can make it a circle. Now we can, we can get a circle. We can also do triangle, for example. There we go. You can have a nice little triangle and also a square. For example. Nope, and I let go when it's like that. So these are all nice little gesture things that you need to learn in order to pick up Procreate. But once you've learned how to use it, it's a very quick way to draw. And yeah, that's one of so that's the primary reason I use Procreate. It's the ease of use, simplicity, clean interface, all that. And yeah, so let's just go ahead and take a look at some things that I maybe don't like so much, or perhaps could be improved. So the number one problem I have with Procreate is the fact that Procreate doesn't have a good folder system. And I think this is sort of a remnant of iOS when iPad was still running iOS. It's now on iPad OS now, but but like with a lot of iOS apps, everything is kept inside a sandbox. So whatever files that's kept in your, let's see if I can drag this out, in your file manager that's on the right of Safari, your file manager app, that has to be copied over into Procreate first before you can actually start drawing. So it makes like a separate copy almost inside the file instead of directly accessing it like a Windows file or a Android file. So that's a bit annoying because it means it takes up double the space. And the other issue is that like I said, there's no good way to manage your gallery, to be honest. You just kind of have all these canvases just laid out, and you can sort of stack them up like this, for example, but you can't stack them and stack them twice. So you can't say have a category of drawings. So you can't say have a category of drawings, and then within like my 2022 art gallery, I want to have another folder that says comics or dragons or whatever. I can't do that. So I can only have like one folder. I can't have like folders within folders, which is another annoying thing because I can't, organize it as, in multiple in a more complex folder structure. So it's just one level of folders basically. So that's the other another annoying thing about Procreate is that the folder structure is basically non-existent. There isn't any. But I do like the fact that they've gone for a very nice, clean, and simplistic UI. I will applaud them for that. But I do wish that they give you the ability to properly be able to organize your galleries a little bit more. Like again, like one of the reasons why I've written like this huge word, just sketches, right on the top, is because every time I drag and drop this on top of another canvas, it just straight up renames this to stack, and I don't know why. I guess it just can't figure out whether to name it on the bottom or the top, but it always happens. So I just have this huge canvas that just says sketches and gallery 2020, for example. So that's my other complaint about Procreate. But overall, I think Procreate is a fantastic. It's a very fantastic app. You can import files. You can of course create many different sizes of canvases. You can export. You can also export your files. You can export your time lapse. You can export as a Photoshop, and yeah. So if you need to use it as if you need to use Photoshop after you're done drawing up here, and upload it to your PC and do more touch-ups, you can do that. There are simple animated, you can make simple animated GIF stuff as well, which is nice. I don't really use the animation in Procreate very much because the export quality to GIFs are kind of poor. So I usually would just export it to Photoshop and then use Photoshop to export the GIF because I don't know why, but I think Procreate's GIF export is just poor. The picture just comes out a little blurry and the colors are a little bit weird. So generally, I just, if I need a GIF, I'll just export it to Photoshop and just do it in Photoshop. But it's there if you need it, so it's not too bad. It's all there. Oh, and another con of Procreate is that there is a limit to how big or how small the how many layers you get based on the size of the canvas. So if I were to, for example, if I were to go here and then just drag the canvas, as you can see, the bigger the canvas is, the fewer layers you get. So this is like a performance thing, and it's limited by the amount of RAM you have on your iPad. So I have an iPad Pro. I don't remember how much RAM this has, but if you have an iPad Air, you'll probably get a fewer number of layers. So that's something to keep in mind. So I would recommend maybe going for a Pro if you work with like 50 somewhat layers, and I go almost 50 layers all the time. So it depends. Some people only use 10 layers. I don't know how you people survive with 10 layers. I need like 60 layers. I usually almost hit my limit. But I've not had a problem so far with layer count. So it's not too bad. But yeah, as I've said, I do have a Pro. What else? You can also import from Photoshop, so that's nice. And it'll preserve all the layer structure and all that. It won't do a good job of preserving blending options and all that. Some of them might be rasterized, so you keep that in mind. But that's kind of true with almost every other app. So overall, I like Procreate. I love the simplicity. I love the fact that it's very easy to get all of your tools. It's a very nice, clean interface. Folders are annoying. I don't like folders. I don't like its gallery. And that's just a little thing that they could improve if they could make it so that your Procreate can access your gallery directly from the file manager app, like this, for example. Like, I can just hit import and I just go here and get my files. So if I can just do that, I would be much happier and not have to make a copy of it. Because if I hit any one of this, for example, if I hit any one of this, it's just going to make a copy. It's going to make a copy, and I don't want that. I want it to be able to directly get access to that Procreate file. But it's not doing that. But yeah, overall, great app, and if you like to use you've been thinking of getting an iPad or just thinking about drawing something on a go or switching to a different drawing app, for example, I would say Procreate's a great place to switch to. And the iPad is also a fantastic drawing app. The Apple Pencil is really great. Yeah, as much as I have problems with Apple and their business practices, you have to admit that they just have a brilliant app and they just have a brilliant hardware. So can't complain about it, well, honestly, in that regards. Anyway, thanks everyone for listening and watching, and I'll see you guys. Bye.